Hello, infinite, eternal consciousness. Thank you so much for dropping by this video. So, got a really great question on Quora, which I'd love to respond to. I'm really excited about this question. The question is, I'm having various states of spiritual realization, but always seems to come back to my ego. Am I going to settle? Am I going to settle in truth one day? So, two questions. What's going on? And then the second, are you going to settle into truth one day? Second question is easy. Yes. It's just a fundamental of Hinduism, Buddhism, early Christianity, before the Catholic Church got a hold of it, that salvate, whether you call it salvation, enlightenment, moksha, liberation, nirvana, that is inevitable. Everyone will, as you so poetically said, settle in the truth one day. So that one's easy. So we just take that as our starting point, which is actually kind of important because in the Western world, we've been terrorized with the idea of eternal hell, that only some people will settle into the truth. And the other people, the rest of people, and actually, depending on who you talk to, usually it's most people are going to be destroyed or be tortured forever. So I kind of said it just like, okay, we take care of that and done. But actually, as Westerners, you know, it's actually really important for us to really take to heart that, again, whether you call it salvation, liberation, enlightenment, redemption, nirvana, that it is inevitable for everyone and everything, every soul. So, next, I'm having various stages of spiritual realization, but always seem to come back to my ego. Okie dokie. That is just a great question. So here's the thing. The modern spiritual world is mostly bullshit. Most of the books and most of the teachers that you come across out there, that I came across and that are out there, are only going to give you little bits and pieces of how to fully awaken. I know this from personal experience, having traveled around the world, having read probably thousands of books at this point, and tried so many different courses and so many different meditations, and had so many different spiritual awakenings, or as you say, spiritual realizations. Having so many different states, but always coming back to my ego. Boom. What's that all about? Well, what that is really all about is not having been taught properly. And that's why I started off by saying that most of the teachings and teachers out there are giving a really incomplete partial teaching on how to permanently, it's two ways of saying the same thing, how to permanently bring the ego to an end, or how to permanently live in a spiritual state. And state's a bit of a misnomer, but we can use it for now. So the most, and it's not systematic. That's really the thing is this book says, do this mantra, and this book says, eat this diet, and this book says, believe in reincarnation, and this book, it's kind of like, da, 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 da. And so that's why I've kind of re-fallen in love with Advaita Vedanta, a tradition out of India, which started in around the 7th or 8th century and has its roots back thousands of years before that. It's systematic. It tells you what to do and leads you progressively, step by step, so that these spiritual states you're having, or these spiritual realizations, just become permanent. And it's not so much they become permanent, they already are permanent, but there's just all these blockages to that. And Advaita Vedanta has specific words for what are the specific kinds of blockages and how to remove them. They liken it to the sun. The sun can be obscured by the clouds, but the sun is always shining. So these spiritual states that you're experiencing, or you say spiritual realizations that you're experiencing, are nothing more than the clouds momentarily, hopefully it's longer than a moment, momentarily sort of going away, parting, and then the sun is shining. But the thing is, even when the clouds are there, the sun is shining. And Advaita Vedanta teaches very clear, very clear methodology for permanently removing the clouds and for how to stay aware of the shining of the sun, even when the clouds are there. So the first step in, I don't want to say the first step because there's many approaches to it, but one of the most important places to begin is to realize that nothing in the world can give you happiness. As long as you think that something in the world can give you happiness, then you're going to be pursuing that. Whereas Advaita Vedanta says you are happiness. Your true nature, your soul already is happiness. It is the sun. It's always shining. It's always a nice day. The weather's always good on the inside. But if you're always looking for good weather on the outside, then in essence, what you're doing is you're turning your attention away from yourself, from your soul, where eternal happiness is, and then turning it out to the world and looking for it where it's not. And no wonder states of spiritual realization come and go, because here's what's happening. So the mind turns to the self, has a state of spiritual realization, and then turns away from the self. And then it seems the experience of it is that it disappears. The truth is that the sun is constantly shining. And so the question not the question, the issue is training your mind to permanently stay like this, permanently focused on the source of true happiness. So, my current favorite book on that is by James Schwartz. He has it available online for free. It's called The Essence of Enlightenment. The website is Shining World, and it'll lead you step by step through the path of Advaita Vedanta so that you can permanently settle in the truth that you already are, that your true essence already is settled in and never left. But the mind, through an odd series of circumstances, has gotten into the very painful habit of going like this and then looking for that sunlight on the outside. Thank you so much for dropping by. I hope that was helpful. Feel free to post any further comments or questions. Take care.